Right then, hello again. Two locomotives here. This red one is the one we talked about last time. At the end, this is going to be looked at and hopefully repaired today. It is the most bizarre locomotive I've ever seen, this one definitely, even though these ones, this one and the Class 21 were pretty different. This one, as you can see, I have repainted the pantographs. I've fixed it on. There are little washers. I painted the washers gold so they don't show up so much. I've done a little bit of tiny bit of highlighting the SNCF, the numbers, this, that and the other on both sides. I haven't even bothered with the windscreen much. I have cleaned it again and it works just fine. It actually will roll. Look, it's running really nicely. Anyway, that's that one, which can go to one side, put it over there. And this is the one we're going to do today. Let's say 20 euros, 2 carriages, etc, etc. These actually clip down, but I can't get them back on. There are two little bent clips there. I don't want to break it. I have also taken the bodywork off this because it was very difficult. It just clips like it's just clipped on like, how about that, like the some of the old Triang ones and the Hornby ones. And it's made, as I said, by a toy company that started to make trains. As you can see, there's a great deal more detailing on this one. I don't know how much it cost at all. It was part of a set in the old days. It's late, early 70s, this one. As I said, they went bust in 79 and that's it, the end of it. These are metal handles and metal rails there, but when you look at the inside of it, they're actually just bent over inside. It's incredible, they're bent over like that. The rails at the top are also bent over and stuck underneath here, and yet there's a back plate for the cabin inside that you can't see, of course. You can't see through there, but it's incredible. The painting, some of the painting's pretty grim on the sides of it, but it's very much better than this one was. Oh, I'm doing it again, get off camera. I'll say that bit again. It's very much better than the Jouef one was. Makes you wonder why they were trying so hard. Anyway, they went under and left us with this. Now then, this system here is a motor in the middle. You need a pencil for this. A motor in the middle here with a rubber connecting tube here to two long bars which are supported in these plastic blocks, and there are rubber bands going down to the axles which are there. Now, I've never seen that before. I don't think there can't be very many of those. I shouldn't think anybody else has tried that one. The screws were missing under here as well when I got it. And it turns out that the pickups, which are here, or the connections are here, both ends, there and there, so positive and negative, I presume, and they must get down to here somehow. At first I couldn't work it out, but in actual fact this whole block here is the connector to there and there. The axles are of plastic, making the insulation between the two sides. You see the screws there, and the screws that are holding the connectors in there are just going straight into the metal here. So this grubby piece of metal here is what's making the contact for all the wheels, so it's all-wheel drive again and all-wheel pickups. However, however, it doesn't work. I have tried it, tested it, it does not work. The motor does work. That works. I've put 10-12 volts in there and it does turn over. And the wheels will turn, bizarre but true. So, first of all, I think we're just going to take it to bits and find out what's wrong with these bogies, because I can't really do anything with rubber bands in the way and everything mounted. I don't know how we'd actually get this out. Oh, this isn't even fixed in, it's just sitting in there. Good grief, it really is. That's different. This isn't even fixed in. That'll be the screws that are missing here. Anyway, right, let's try and get this to pieces. Right, first job, I found that this one in here will come out of there. Pull that out the way and push these back, and it will, that's probably the preferred technique, and it will come out of there. The other end seems to be a little bit more reluctant to, that's coming, come on in, so we don't get out of the plastic, it won't come out. That's that, and that's that. So 1, 2, I'm not going to keep that thing on there. I never have light suppressors like that, and anyway, that's soldered on there, so that's going to be just give this a bit of a helping hand with the old cutters. I'll unsolder the rest of it later. Which gives us so the wires go in and are screwed straight through into the metal. These two screws are just holding the bogie on. So I presume that to clean these things up, because they seem to be very heavily oxidized, I don't know. They're not really clean, so I clean those up. I probably have to take both sides to bits. Let's push that out of the way. There's the screw that holds the bottom bit on. Whoa, it didn't quite tight. Oh, that was the spacer that went with that over there. I'm going to pull these back so you can see them. These bands seem to be any good. There's also some rubber, I hope from older bands where these have been changed. Right, that's that. Metal wheels to be cleaned up. Yes, these are obviously the contacts. Dunk. This is metal of some kind. I'm going to clean this up. The detailing on these looks pretty good. what I need is to get my Dremel out. Right, I've been cleaning things up with various brushes of nylon and brass and whatever it is on this Dremel. I had a spot of luck because I nearly, very nearly, destroyed something you can't replace. That is starting to look fairly clean, that one. I'll do a bit more. This is not so very clean. A lot of oxide on there. See the difference in the oxide and the nearly shiny bit. This is the contact pickup wheel, and I thought this was because they're both metal, both of these wheels would be the same, but they are not, and I very nearly, with these brushes, especially the metal ones, destroyed this one. Oops, this one, I mean that one off camera. I'll just put that down there and bring this in. These ones actually have, you can see that I think, a plastic tyre on them. And you can see that part there where I very nearly blew it. It's actually a smidgen flatter there because the heat from the brush that I was using started to melt it, and it didn't feel right when I was doing it. I was doing it this sort of level here, and it didn't look right because it didn't get shiny straight away. And luckily I stopped and had a look at it under a magnifying glass. I'll have to get a scalpel off and cut that piece of melted plastic off there. Obviously you'll never ever get any spare parts for these. I'm not quite sure why they did two different axles, one pickup and one not. They were just as good to do two pickups, I think, but that's the way it is. I presume it's like that on the other end. So I shall gaily finish these ones off. These are actually, I found this easier to leave it on the plastic. They are actually cleaning up quite well. A lot of work to do. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this to try and actually get it. There is a lot of detail in there. I'm loath to use chemicals on these things. I don't know what sort of metal it is. It's obviously it's quite heavy, but it's obviously an alloy. So you start using acids and things like that on there and you get into trouble. So I may just leave it like that. Go through it a bit more. Anyway, let's keep going with that. Certainly there's a lot of slop. I hope that's clean enough to actually make some kind of contact. Let's put the last one in. That one. Do it left-handed. Be even more difficult. No, do it right-handed. For the contacts. Now what I'm going to do here is right, I've been at this for quite some time. These are looking clean. All I've done here for the moment is wired it up without the elastic bands or rubber bands without the bars or anything, and I've just put it on the track to see if I can get it to run through both bogies, and it does actually work. It's not perfect yet. Another thing, while I was soldering these wires up, putting them back on, two of them broke off. I've got to change this wire. It's very brittle, it's very old, it doesn't solder well, it's just not very nice. So I'll resolder that, change those wires, and actually put in different colours so I can, can definitely see, just for fun. And then of course I've got to take it to pieces and put the bands on if they're all right. They do seem to be quite. These have been changed, I'm sure, because over time, you know what happens to elastic bands. If you do this on camera, you can see them. You know what happens. They just go funny and break. These all seem to be the same length and in reasonable condition. So I'll put it back together, those to try. That has definitely got a weight in there. But there was nothing holding this motor in, and there are 4 little holes underneath it, as if it was supposed to be screwed in. In this base plate here, there's one hole there missing a screw, there's one hole here with a screw in it. I can actually see through that one. So what I've got to do is find a screw. Yeah, it is. The same as that. That's going to be good fun, isn't it? Anyway, I'm now going to have my lunch and a glass of wine, because I've been at this for ages. The cleaning of these things has just taken me an hour and a bit. So I think that's well enough for the minute, and I'll be back later. And here I am, back again. Not after one glass of wine and one lunch, but in fact some weeks later. And I've decided I did film a lot more. I did go much further with this locomotive. But things have been happening every time I tried it. I kept putting it back together and changing things, and so I'll go through a small explanation, a short explanation of what actually happened. Eventually I got the thing back together with these original rubber bands, or drive bands, which I thought to be too soft, too long, etc. They aren't the original ones, but that's what I thought then. So I ordered, and on the other film, which I'm not including here, I ordered some shorter ones, tighter, like this, thinking that I would never get the original bands. I put these on, and it turned out they were far too tight. They were actually stopping the bogies from turning. They were literally jamming them up against the body, against the chassis. Far too tight. So, and again, it did run a little bit, but it wouldn't go around corners because it was pulling the bogie off the track. Then I started looking on the internet for things, and I actually found somebody who said that he'd got, I think it was eBay, who said he'd got, because it's been going on for weeks now, this thing. He said that he was selling the original bands in the original packaging, which look like this, these bands here, which as you can see are much thicker, and you had to buy 12. I don't know why, but that's 3 sets. I presume in the days gone by that these things were changed regularly. However, this was even worse. I put these on, again with the original bogies and this, that and the other, and it wouldn't work. It was constantly, for example, pulling one of the bogies connecting wheels off the track. It was literally lifting up. I'll just hold together, lifting that with respect to this. It was twisting it off the track, and because there were only there's only one pair of the wheels with pickups on, and the other ones had the plastic things, it wouldn't pick up. I couldn't get a good pickup on it at all. It wouldn't work with any of these bands. So on the same, I went back to this guy's site, and he has a shop online, and he sells lots of parts, and of all things, he's got fairly cheap, €4, brand new axles. How he's got all this stuff, I don't know, but anyway, he has. So I bought 2 new axles. So all 4 axles now would pick up from the track. That was much, much better. With all 4 it does work. However, once I got it running, I found motor problems. As you can see, that there's a lot of stuff here. So I thought, well, before I start mucking about, because this thing was sealed shut. It's not screwed shut, it's glued shut. And so I had to lever it apart to get in there. I did actually manage to get the brushes out. Then again, you can't get them back. So as you can see, you have to open it. I'll just open that a bit because it falls apart. And I have got it back together, and it's very difficult. However, I ordered this one, also from eBay, and I can put that in if I need to. Obviously I'm going to make with my 3D printer a support for it, but if it gets really bad I might have to do that. But this original one does work. Then I was finding I had problems with these rubber joints here. They are split now because I've put them on and off so many times, and they're very brittle. So I've been super gluing them on. This one is actually permanently fitted on there at the moment. And I found that, of course, although I've lost one of these, I can't, I want to go back to these. So I've put on there some heat shrink, which is going to provide a little bit more grip for these ones. And it looks like I'm going to have to go back to the original belts, which were on there in the first place, which did actually turn the wheels over. So all of this has been pretty useless. Obviously these parts arriving and everything like that, it's been driving me nuts. So I'm going to try and put it back together again now with the new axles, the original belts. If I can find I've got to find the last one. I don't know where it is. It's in here somewhere. Here are the original wheels, of course, with the plastic covering on them, which I don't need. And I can't cut off because, of course, the wheels are much, much smaller. And so I'm still at it. I'm going to run on a bit today, during the day, and see if I can get this thing to work. But I've scrapped all the end of the original video because it just doesn't mean anything. I got to a point where I had to run it on the test track, and it ran up and down with these original belts, which slipped. Well, anyway, I'm going to put this back together, or try to, and try and find this last belt and see if we can't run it. Finally, after a long, long time, this is another week or more than that later. I had other things to do. I have also, as you can see, built a little test track on my pool table, which is not very good for pool, but shows off the engines better. I never did find the other drive belt. There are 3 of the original ones on there, plus one more rigid one that I got out of a cassette player that I've had for ages, which I shall have to put back again, I suppose, eventually. But just to show you, it does work, and I might even try and put the body on actually. Let's have a go at that. So here's the body. The body isn't clipped on, it's just sitting on top. I dare not clip it on, something else is going to go wrong and I have to take it off again. But at least it's running, and that's as far as I want to go for the moment with this one. Just put it to one side. However, on the, if I zoom in a bit here, if I can zoom in a bit here, if I go down to there, you can see next to the not quite finished 21, a little green shunter, and there's a little grey shunter, if I can hold the camera right. These are going to be my next video. They're the cheapest ones I've ever bought, even with all this €20 business. I got both of them for £12.50 including postage. Neither of them worked, of course, but that's the way it goes. They were both green. One of them is now decided to be grey because I helped it out a bit, and I've already actually done the video on this in the interim while mucking about with the red one, so I shall be able to put that reasonably quickly. Again, the motors in these ones are completely different yet again, as you will see. If you can put up with me, thank you very much for watching, and to all the people who've subscribed, thank you very much. I'm amazed. It's very flattering. So I hope to see you in the future. Goodbye and thank you.